they just don't have the proprioception, because when you take your foot, which has thousands and millions of proprioceptors on them, and then now you put this squishy surface, you basically shut off those proprioceptors. You might as well put Novocaine in your foot. That's what a squishy shoe is doing, is Novocaine for the foot. So it's like if you Novocaine your jaw when you've had the dentist and you sit there and slap your jaw, like, it doesn't hurt, this doesn't hurt. That's happening, but eventually you do that with a hammer and you're breaking your jaw. And so the reality is, it's the same concept as I can take my finger, tap it with a hammer, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Do that 1,500 times, eventually I've got a broken finger. You're running 1,500 times every mile. So think about of our members, how many miles are they putting in? 2 miles every day when they're here 4 times a week, 8 miles a week. So how many steps is that? 12,000, excuse me, 12,000. That's a lot. So that's a lot of wrong. 12,000 plyometric movements done incorrectly is going to cause some problems. So the pose method is about how to run correctly. And so what I went through, and I found the pose method, this is actually some paid stuff that had brought up. I'm going to show you actually some short videos. All these videos are literally at 90 seconds. So we're going to go through and kind of get an understanding of what the pose method is all about. This is Dr. Nicholas Romanov with the guide to treadmill running.
Welcome to the Pose Method Guide to Treadmill Running, the most effective way to improve your form and run injury-free on the treadmill. Throughout this 1-week mini-series, you'll learn what's unique about running on the treadmill and actively use our practical sessions to improve your running skill. In this series, we'll first establish a conceptual foundation about running on the treadmill. We'll explain exactly how it's different from running on the ground, as well as show you the 3 most common errors that runners commit. We'll also cover how to perform a treadmill running video analysis and teach several running skill exercises designed for treadmill running. Additionally, we'll offer some training guidelines to help you optimize your treadmill running sessions. Also, this course will provide 3 practical sessions that are aimed at improving your treadmill running at various speeds. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned runner, this program will give you the tools to avoid injuries and improve your treadmill running. You're always going to be running on a road, track, or grass. At some point, you're likely to find yourself running on a treadmill. While it's not completely obvious, there are some key differences when running on a treadmill that can alter your technique. For starters, the key element that allows you to move forward when running on the ground is that you're falling forward over support on every step. When on a treadmill, you're not able to harness gravity the same way. In this instance, falling is negated because the belt is moving beneath you in the opposite direction. This slight difference can lead a runner to simply shuffle their legs back and forth, rather than moving with their entire body. There are 3 major errors that happen when running on a treadmill, and these errors will most likely lead to pain and discomfort. The first is overstriding. In this instance, the runner is exhibiting an exaggerated range of motion. This is happening because they aren't pulling their foot off the belt fast enough, leading to their support foot falling far behind their body. Subsequently, the airborne foot will have to reach out far ahead in an effort to counterbalance the body. This can be corrected by increasing your cadence. Your foot coming off the ground faster will lead to a shorter stride. The second error is bending at the waist. Here the runner's upper body is hunched over. This will typically happen as fatigue sets in towards the end of a workout. To fix this, simply run for 10 to 12 steps with your hands clasped behind your back. This will help you align your body position to be more upright. Finally, there's landing ahead of the body. This deviation is related to overstriding. The lack of falling encourages the runner to exhibit an excessive heel strike. This mechanical flaw puts undue stress on your knee joint, which can lead to a serious injury. To help counter this, you should increase the incline. This will help you simulate falling forward in an effort to minimize your excessive heel strike. The truth is, most runners aren't aware of how they're running. Be sure to film yourself the next time you're on a treadmill to see exactly what errors you're committing. Running on a treadmill is slightly different from running on the ground. However, if you stay focused on avoiding these 3 common errors, you'll be able to safely go through your workouts and achieve your fitness goals.
All right, so she mentioned something in there, the word gravity. Did everybody catch that? Yes, no?
Yes.
Good. So one of the things that's big and why that running is controlled fault, if you're constantly overstriding, you've got gravity pulling you as a force. You're not using gravity to your advantage. Gravity's really, really strong, and it's not going away anytime soon on this planet that I know of.
9.8
So,
meters per second.
what's that?
It's 9.8 meters per second.
9.8 22 meters per second squared. So always using gravity to your advantage and keeping your angle and having that controlled fall is going to be much more efficient than ever fighting it where I'm here and now I've got to pull myself through. So when we start talking about coefficients of friction, other fun things in physics, you want to negate forces that are going to slow you down as often as possible. And so when somebody's constantly hitting that pull motion and pulling and driving, it's just not going to work out well. And this one.
Treadmill running. We first have to cover what makes running on the treadmill unique compared to running over the ground. Take a look at these two videos. On the left, you've got someone running on a track, and on the right, you've got the same person running on a treadmill. On the surface, his running doesn't seem to vary between the two videos. Let's run it back so we can show you the difference. The main difference is...
So, stand up, Carly, real quick. On Carly's shirt, so this is kind of ironic to me. We're never ever going to see that. That's a running form. So notice the angle from stay up. From head to foot. See how he's straight? Like that's never going to happen on a treadmill because that's an acceleration move. So that athletic acceleration move, anybody that's ever run track, run fast, you've seen that. Our treadmills can't do that. People just smack into the front of it every time. So the treadmills don't accelerate like that. If we had a woodway, that might be a little different story, but we don't have that.
That here he's moving over the ground, and here the ground, or belt, is moving beneath him. This subtle difference can cause your running form to deteriorate rapidly when on the treadmill, which leads to pain and eventually injuries that can take you away from your workouts and activities. To explain why, let's first identify what's happening when you run. Runners, whether sprinting on the track or jogging on the trail, will all go through the same invariable sequence of events. Every runner first passes through mid-stance, which we call the running pose. From this position, every runner will fall forward, which is the source of their speed. And finally, every runner will pull their foot off the ground when it's no longer responsible for holding you upright. This invariable sequence of pose, fall, pull is present on every step. However, when you're running on the treadmill, falling is negated because the belt is moving beneath you. Remember, falling is the source of your speed, but when you're on the treadmill, the belt will be dictating your speed. The presence of the belt moving can slightly change your focus from moving your body forward to simply keeping your legs on pace with the belt. This subtle difference will typically cause runners to overstride, bend at the waist, and land ahead of the body. Every time you're on the treadmill, you need to have a heightened focus on eliminating these errors in order to keep you training and help you avoid those nagging injuries.
Alright, so first we'll go into simple overstriding. So this is one we see, probably I see the most. The reason we have all those black marks on the front of the treadmills.
One of the most common errors when running on the treadmill is overstriding. This means that the overall range of motion of your legs is excessive. Watching in real time, it'll look like your legs are lagging far behind and swinging far out in front of your body. This is happening because you're only moving your legs in an effort to keep pace with the speed of the belt. As you fatigue, you'll begin to actively reach with your legs in an effort to keep up, which can only magnify this issue. Additionally, there will be an increase in vertical oscillation as a consequence of overstriding. To address this error, you will have to increase your cadence, or steps per minute. The average runner has a cadence of 165. Your goal is to run with a minimum cadence of 180. Keep in mind, increasing your cadence is not the same as increasing your speed. Your goal must be to increase your cadence while running at the same speed. This will cause the range of motion of your legs to decrease and become more compact.
So, super common. You can hear it sometimes like and if you see people running and they're this the whole time, think about every time you come down, how much force is coming down, how much force is coming down. That plyometric force is just more and more and more. Not saying that things won't move, but it shouldn't be this jumping up and jumping down and jumping up and jumping down that we're seeing a lot. Saw a girl day my left 15. Once she got tired, it went away. She thought that's how.
Another common treadmill running error is bending at the waist. During a workout, the further along you get, it becomes more and more likely that fatigue will set in. One of the consequences of fatigue is that your body alignment will deteriorate and you'll begin to slouch. Keep in mind, these common treadmill errors are related. And an additional consequence of bending at the waist is that your legs will start to reach out further in an effort to counterbalance. So if you're not careful, bending at the waist can quickly become overstriding, compounding the problem. To address this error, simply run with your hands clasped behind your back. Reach behind and clasp your hands, extending your arms to restore your body alignment. Continue to run like this for 10 to 12 steps, then release your arms and keep running, maintaining your proper body alignment. Anytime you feel that you're beginning to slouch, go through this drill to self-correct your alignment and continue running.
One more, and we're going to get to run around. Landing ahead, much like overstriding.
Landing ahead of the body is another common error runners make on the treadmill. This means that on every step, the runner's foot is touching the ground ahead of their body. Unlike overstriding, where the range of motion is excessive, the runner is simply shuffling their legs and landing with their leg fully extended. While a slow cadence can be one cause for this to happen, another reason for this error is related to the absence of falling. Remember, falling is negated because the belt is moving beneath you. Landing with your leg fully extended can cause excess stress on the joints, tendons, and ligaments in your legs on every step. This can lead to pain and eventually an injury. To address this error, you can raise the incline. Raising the incline can help to simulate falling. Doing this will limit the amount of reaching your leg can do, which in turn will increase your cadence. Once you feel that you're no longer reaching out in front with your legs, lower the incline back down and work on maintaining your improved running form.
All right, so I need everybody to pair up with somebody. One of you will need a phone that has, or a camera that has a good, one of you will need a camera, and then we will spread out on the treads and we're going to work on these things. As much to the side as possible. Whitney is obviously easy. You can open that door if you needed to for her. Allie, I could get right here, get behind Whitney and see her fine. Same thing with Deanie, I could get behind, see him fine. You might actually have to go that way because of the way the lighting is set up. So just make sure you've got everybody that has a camera, your lighting, you can see them well. The people running, you're gonna go ahead and get 5 to 7 miles per hour, somewhere in that range. And I don't want you doing anything, worried about your stride. I want you just running naturally. And then we're gonna actually use your footage to break down what is your cadence. It's very hard to actually count and run, particularly 180. I've tried, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, oh shoot, I forgot. And especially when you start getting like high numbers, it's really hard to do. So, everybody's camera is good? Yes? Yes. Go ahead and start running, guys. I'll tell you when to really start recording cameras. They're going to run for a minute, 5 to 7 miles per hour. Good, keep going. So that's not yet. No, 1%. Flat road. Come on, man. Flat road. 1%. Once the treadmills are all at speed, then I'm going to give you time. Let's start recording in 3, 2, 1. Start recording. Recording in 3, 2, 1. Treadmill, shut it down. We'll switch places now. Let's start recording in 3, 2, 1. Start recording. Runners are just running. recording in 3, 2, 1. 25 seconds of my left foot in 30 seconds. So watch the footage, watch 30 seconds, okay? My left should hit 45 times in 30 seconds minimum. Anything less than that, too long of a stride, cadence is too slow. So everybody, let's find your cadence. So you both got a recording of each of you. Find your cadences. Let's see what we got.
A minute, I guess. That's how long it ran.
Your left foot should be on cadence with the metronome.
You got a cadence on the left foot or your right foot. That cadence.
That looks like the Tin Man running.
Who feels like they're on pace?
So I start raising my hand. See what scores.
In 3, 2, 1, start recording.
Alex, too slow.
Okay, I'll see you guys in a second.
So, both feet.
We start recording now?
Not yet. I'm just recording everything.
Start recording in 3, 2, 1, start recording. Yeah, maybe. Same tempo, now both feet are hitting on the beat. Stop recording 3, 2, 1. Here, upright, the upper body. So you don't do a lot of it. But if you start punching over, you can see how that will make an adjustment. So everybody get back to that same speed, maybe even a little faster. And then start hunching over a little bit. Particularly, let's go ahead and set them up at 5% incline too. We'll go 5% incline, because this is where we see a lot of times people are on an incline, start hunching over. So instead of them driving their knees up and hitting that controlled fall,
You look like a goober.
so instead of them driving their knees up and hitting that controlled fall, at this incline they start hunching. So now everybody can clasp your hands behind your back, chest up tall, but still driving up that hill. That's going to take your entire body into that angle that we need. So get you 10 to 12 seconds of that. Go high with those hands. That'll get that chest up tall and the appropriate tall. So you're not running up right, You're still got a forward lean, but it's correct. Now you can go back and continue that going with normal hands to it. There you go. Good. So that's the correction for when we see that somebody, because one of the corrections for our running technique was add 5% incline, right?
Your perception of increasing your cadence is to attempt it at the extremes. The long strides to short strides exercise will take you from one extreme to the other without adjusting your speed. Get on the treadmill and set it to a speed that's fast enough for you to jog, but slow enough that you can still walk. This will probably be between 3 and 4 miles per hour. Start to walk and take the longest possible strides you can. These exaggerated steps should feel uncomfortable and be difficult to perform. Continue for about 20 seconds, then shorten your steps to be more of a normal walking gait. Notice that you haven't increased your speed, just your cadence. Focus on how it feels to be pulling your feet off the ground at a faster rate. Continue for another 20 seconds, then shorten your steps again to a very choppy gait. You should still technically be walking, but right at the upper limit. Once again, notice that you are still just increasing your cadence, not your speed, and focus on the feeling of pulling your feet off the ground more frequently. Continue again for 20 seconds, then transition from a choppy walk to a jog. Your cadence should increase once again. Just like the previous transitions, focus on the feeling of pulling your feet off the ground more frequently. Finish by continuing for 1 minute while maintaining this fast cadence the entire time. By the end of this exercise, you should have reached the minimum required cadence of 180 steps per minute. If you increase your speed, focus on keeping this cadence and resist the urge to let your stride lengthen. We recommend using this exercise at the beginning of any treadmill running session to get you started with an optimal cadence.